So now I'm about ready for the text. I'm going to click on the T button over here on the side, and that's going to make a text block. So what I typed out was really, really small, and it's really hard to see, so I need to change the size of that. So up here where the font size is, I'm going to take it and crank it up, and it's still really small. I can read it now, but it needs to be a lot bigger. So there I typed in the call letters, and I want them to be in front of the headphones and stuff. So notice you can grab the layers and drag them around. And whichever layer is on the top is the layer that people are going to see first. So if I take the call letters, drag them to the top, now you can see them. And I can change the font size. Let's make it bigger. I'm going to type in 400. Now I like the size. The size isn't bad, but I don't really like the lettering, the font choice. So I'm going to go back over to where the fonts are, highlight everything, go to the fonts, and you can see there's going to be a preview of each kind of font, and there are a ton of them. So you'll want to scroll through and kind of pick specifically a font that you think kind of represents your station and the feeling and the tone that you're going for with your format and with your music. Now this is a hard rock station. I want a hard edged font. So I'm skipping all the curly Q, cutesy stuff, anything that's soft edged. I don't want any of that. I want something that's kind of hard. That's pretty good right there. Let me see what this looks like. So I'm going to click it and try it, and then click off, and yeah, I like that one a lot better. Now it's still a little bit small. You'll notice that some fonts, the size will change as far as the same number size, but it'll look a little bit different for each font. So I'm going to change it up more to 600. That's perfect. Again, you want your identifiers for your station to be the largest thing in there. Your call letters, your frequency, whatever the station is known as. You make sure that's really huge. Now something I'm thinking, I want to make it kind of like a graffiti tag. So I'm going to go to Layer Styles and Outer Glow, because I want that little bit of like a spray paint outline around it. I'm going to change the opacity to make it really bright and dark. I don't want it yellow, so I'm going to click on the color, change it to white. And you'll notice with all the layer options, you can just play around with stuff and get it to look the way you want just by kind of messing around with it. Yeah, that gives me what I want. Now, by putting a little bit of an outline around it like this, it helps it stand out and makes it really kind of pop off the screen and stand out with all the other images and stuff we have going on there. So I've got the call letters. I'm going to put the frequency in next. I click on the T again, and I'm making a separate text box for that. And that way I can move each part of it around and change them if I need to and make them different sizes and stuff. If everything is all in one text box, then it makes it really hard to change things and manipulate things without changing everything. So I'm going to type in the frequency, 101.5 FM. I want it to be a little bit smaller than the call letters. So I'm going to change the size. That works. And I'm going to position it underneath the call letters. And I want to put the same glow around it. So I'm going to go to Layer Styles, and Outer Glow again. And when I do this time, it'll automatically be set on the same outer glow that it had before. So when I go to Outer Glow, the glow will actually match exactly the one that I just used on the call letters. Boom. And now I need the slogan. So I'm going to put that underneath, and since it's a New York rock station, I think I'm going to mention New York in the slogan. I need a new text layer, so I'm going to click the text box and click. Now obviously this is way too large, so I'm going to double click on it and change the size. That's a little better. We'll see if we can get it to fit. Still too big, so we're going to highlight it again, change the size, go a little bit smaller. So I got the call letters and frequency right near the top 1/3 line. It's going to be the first thing that you see. The slogans down near the bottom, underneath the guitars. It's not as obvious. I'm going to put the same outer glow on it that I did on the other letters just by going to Layer Styles, Layer Styles, and Outer Glow. There, now that really stands out. Now I like this, but now it's a little hard to see the headphones and the guitar. So I'm going to try and do something to make those stand out a little bit. So there's another kind of layer style that you can use, and what that does is it gives a little bit of a three-dimensional look to the objects. So I'm going to go to the headphone layer, go to Layer, Layer Styles, Bevel and Emboss, and then adjust the options, and that gives the headphones a more three-dimensional kind of look. It shadows them a little bit. It makes them stand out a little bit more than they did when they were flat. I like that. So I'm going to do the same thing to the guitars. I'm going to choose one of the guitar layers, Layer Styles, Bevel and Emboss. And because I just did this for the headphones, it remembers the options that I used for that, and it transfers those options onto the guitar. Now if I wanted different options for the guitar or something, I could do that. But I want the same ones. I want them all to match. So I'm going to hit OK. And now I just have to do the last guitar layer, choose the layer, Layer, Layer Styles, Bevel and Emboss. And you're going to notice there's a lot of different options in here. There's a lot of layer styles that you can use. There's a lot of filters and things that you can use on the images as well. If you're trying to do something, playing around with the stuff and seeing what you can do is a good way to learn. If there's something specific that you want to do, but you're not sure exactly how to do it, just shoot me a message and I should be able to walk you through it. So I think I want to do something with the background. The brick wall is nice, but I think it needs a little something to it. So I'm going to try and make it look like it's shaded, kind of, like there's some darker parts and lighter parts. And in original Photoshop, in the actual Photoshop program, there's ways to adjust the lighting. And I don't really have that here, so I'm going to fake it. You can use a paint bucket to cover an entire area with one paint color, but I'm going to use a gradient instead. And the gradient's going to shade between two colors. And there's one where you can go from a solid color to a transparent layer, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to change the first color to black because I want part of it to be black, and then I want the other part of it to be transparent. So I'm going to choose that one right there, foreground to transparent. And what that's going to do is as I drag, part of it's going to be black and it's slowly going to go clear like this. So now part of it is dark and part of it isn't, and that looks cool, except it's a little too dark. So I'm going to undo that. Under Edit, there's Undo, and it's Command Z for just about every program ever created. I'm going to undo that and make a little smaller gradient so that it doesn't get quite as dark. That looks really good. And in fact, I think I'm going to do the same kind of thing over in the bottom corner. So I'm going to go down to the bottom corner, and I'm going to make an even smaller little drag from one spot to the next. There we go. I like that. So now the background has a little bit of dimension to it. You can read the letters clearly, and the image, the background stands out. So I'm going to save it. So I'm going to go to File and Export Out and save it as a JPEG. And so now I have on my computer a JPEG version of the whole thing. One file that has all the layers put together, and boom, I've got a finished logo right there. And so now I can take that logo and put it into my editing project when I want to add the voiceover and the music part.